Maintaining the ability to walk is one of the biggest concerns among seniors. As a physical therapist, I see many patients in their 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s. And consistently, one of the biggest concerns is not being able to walk as long or as far as they once used to, or they feel like they're lagging behind, either holding their family back, can't go out and do things with their grandkids, or can't go walk with their friends because they're slowing everyone else down. And that can create social isolation because you don't want to go back and keep everyone else from having a good time. But there are really only two ways to walk faster, and one of them may limit how long you can walk. So in this video, I'm going to describe the best ways to walk longer and faster and how you can do it rather quickly. So first of all, what are the only two ways that you can walk faster? Well, you can either take more steps in a given period of time, or you can take longer steps. So your step length times your cadence, how frequently you take steps, makes up your speed. And you can address one of those or the other of those or both. Those are the only two ways to increase your walking speed. Now, interestingly, when you take longer strides, if you have poor flexibility in either your calves or your hip flexors, that can either create pronation of your foot, which can cause plantar fasciitis or knee problems or hip problems, or you arch your back too much because you lack hip extension. And that can create lower back problems or pinched nerves, for example, sciatica. So how do you walk faster without taking longer steps and sacrificing how long you can walk due to pain? Well, the only other option is to take quicker steps. Now, ideally, you do want to be able to increase your stride length. And the main two things that are going to affect your stride length as far as flexibility are hip flexors and the calves. Additionally, if you can't balance on one leg for a long period of time, you're not going to be able to take a long stride because you're going to have to put your foot down too quickly. So to increase your stride length, you need to improve the flexibility of your calves, your hip flexors, and the strength of your gluteal muscles. And I've got another video that I'll link to that shows you how you can do all of those things with just one exercise. But in this video, I want to go over the other option, and this one works almost immediately. It's just taking faster steps. Now, a lot of times these are shorter steps. They're not big, long strides, but if you decrease your step length, but increase your step frequency or your cadence, it allows you to walk at the same speed without having to take longer strides. So the long-term strategy is improving the flexibility, again, hip flexors, calves, and then the strength in your hip muscles so you can balance better. The short-term strategy is to take shorter, quicker steps. Now, you may notice as you do that, you naturally may tend to heel strike, but you'll move more towards a forefoot strike. And if you look at children starting to learn how to walk, or if you look at cultures that are non-westernized where they tend to go barefoot a little bit more, you may notice that flat foot gait a little bit more. When you hit with your whole foot on the ground, again, not hitting on your toes, but not hitting on the very back of your heel either, kind of hitting your heel and the front of your foot at the same time, it gives you more surface area to land and balance on, so it makes you a little bit more stable. It also decreases the ground reaction force. Now, I pre-recorded a video of me walking/running, going from as slow as half a mile per hour to as high as 10 miles per hour. And at each of those speeds, I did both a flat foot, more midfoot strike, as well as a heel strike. And you can see the different variances in gait pattern, and also you can hear the difference in impact force of the foot hitting the ground. Now, I'll put timestamps down at each mile per hour level so you can kind of check what it looks like around your walking speed. Or if you want to just see the whole thing, it is a 7 or 8 minute clip, but if you're not into watching it all, check the description below for timestamps for each mile marker. Now, the thing that you'll notice if you don't want to take the time to watch the whole video is that As speed increases, you naturally tend to go more towards a forefoot strike. Additionally, as speed increases, you'll notice an overall increase in sound from the treadmill, but it's much less overall when you're hitting with more of a flat foot versus a heel strike. And that goes from as little as very slow to very magnified when you're running at faster speeds. So here's the clip. Check it out. Check the speed you want to watch, and then I'll come back at the end and summarize it at the end of the video. This is 1/2 mile per hour.
You'll notice I'm barefoot in this video, but this is only for demonstration purposes. Always wear shoes when you're on the treadmill. Now you'll see in the top right hand corner where it switches from midfoot to heel strike, and it's hard to see the differences at slower speeds. This will increase here to 1 mile an hour.
One mile per hour.
The average walking speed of an adult is about 3 miles per hour at 30 years of age and decreases gradually to 2 miles per hour at an age over 65. However, that's an average, and there are people who walk much faster than that as well as much slower than that, and it's not uncommon to see patients who actually do walk at 1/2 to 1 mile per hour. Now as we get up to more normal walking speeds, you'll be able to start to see and hear the differences between midfoot and heel strike.
2 miles per hour.
Listen to the difference. And it quiets down again. That's because you have a larger surface area hitting the ground, and so there's less pressure per unit area. Moving up to 3 miles an hour.
3 miles per hour.
This is a fast walk for many seniors, but about an average walking pace for a younger person. And again, you can hear the change in volume from heel strike to midfoot. As we start getting faster, you can also start to hear a difference in cadence, how frequent the steps are. Count the number of steps when the timer starts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17,
4 miles per hour.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 20, 21, 30. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. If you multiply 30 times 6 to get a minute, you get 180 steps per minute at the midfoot strike, and 27 times 6 would be about 162 with the heel strike. Ideally, it is a little better to count for 30 seconds so you have a more accurate estimate, but that just gives you an idea. Now this is truly starting to get into running where there's a float phase.
5 miles per hour.
Where one foot is not on the ground at all portions of time. In the next 3 minutes or so of this video will be more running, so if that doesn't interest you, you can skip it, but some people want to be able to play pickleball or tennis or run around with their grandkids, so I included it just for interest. Notice overall that the volume of the running is getting louder, but it's significantly less with a midfoot or flat foot strike versus with the heel strike. Hear the difference?
That's 6 miles per hour.
If you are a runner, the ideal turnover or cadence
7 miles
rate
per hour.
is about 180 steps per minute for most runners, regardless of your speed. So get up to 180 steps per minute. Then to get faster than that, then you'd start increasing your stride length.
8 miles per hour.
Watch here as I switch from midfoot to rear foot strike, how the stride lengths start getting longer but also slower. A heel strike at this point starts to become a little bit painful.
9 miles per hour. This will be 9 miles. Yeah, I'm even trying to run to a strike.
Midfoot running's still reasonably comfortable at this point, but heel striking I just opted out of.
And then 10 miles per hour. So as you can see, as you go to faster and faster speeds, you have to naturally start hitting with more of a forefoot, or it really increases the ground reaction force, and you can hear that by the sound of the treadmill. Now, in the short term, increasing your cadence or your step frequency will allow you to walk faster and longer without creating pain or other problems in your back, your hip, your knee, or your feet. In the long term, you do want to improve the flexibility of your hip flexors, improve the flexibility of your calves, and increase the strength in your hip muscles so that you can balance on one leg longer and take a longer step. And I'll shoot you over to that video in just a moment here. But before you go, if you did find this video helpful, give it a like. And if you haven't already, subscribe to our channel so you can get notified of our future videos. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.